Speaking of embarrassments, let's go to another embarrassment. Glenn Beck on Fox News Channel. He often tells us that, hey, you know what, associations matter a lot, and who Barack Obama associates himself with matters a lot. Van Jones and Bill Ayers and whoever else is up on his crazy, beautiful mind chalkboard. Well, Sam Stein of Huffington Post decided to investigate who Glenn Beck associates himself with and what that tells us about Glenn Beck. And Sam joins us now. Welcome back to the Young Turks, Sam.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been too long.
I agree. I'm right there with you. So, so tell us, Sam, you looked at his guest list a little bit. Who's on that list?
Well, you know, like you mentioned, Beck has sort of made a fortune and a lot of fame based on playing this game of guilt by association, so it only seemed natural to see with whom he associates himself. And we dug through some of the transcripts of old shows, and what we found was a relatively reoccurring theme of people who spout theories of white supremacy, who are jingoistic, who are anti-immigrant, who are rabidly conservative. The list includes a whole host of people. Most prominently was this guy Michael Hill, who is the founder and president of a society called the League of the South, which is sort of a neo-Confederate society that sort of apologizes for racism. Does not apologize for the use of racism during the founding of the country, believes that sort of the Southern culture is supreme and should be celebrated. It's just neo-Confederism. But there's a slew of other people there as well, and it's just fun to play the game because Beck is literally handing these people a huge platform that they otherwise wouldn't get. And so, by his own logic, I guess that's an endorsement of their viewpoints.
Let me give some of the Hill quotes that you have in your piece. He's argued for the Anglo-Celtic culture of the South must be protected and insisting that white men must shed the guilt heaped upon them by their opponents and defend their interests. And the group has questioned, quote, what sort of ammunition is being given to black racists by the media's skewed coverage of interracial crimes? And he's been quoted as saying, let us not flinch when our enemies call us racist, rather just reply with, so, what's your point? Okay, that's an interesting guy to have on your program. Now, look, let me ask. Let's start with Hill, right?
Sure.
So Beck has him on the program. I've had crazy conservatives on the program. Doesn't mean I agree with them. I debate them. Is he debating Hill? Is he debating some of these other guys?
That's the distinction that you need to draw. I mean, if this were a regular news program and Beck was fostering sort of natural debate, which is, perfectly appropriate for a news person to do, and to be fair, some of the people on this list have been on other news programs, but that's not what we're talking about with Glenn Beck. I mean, Glenn Beck he doesn't even describe himself as a newsman. He actually actively goes out and discourages that description, because when he's questioning Obama's associations, he says, I'm just, this average guy trying to figure out what's going on in the White House. So he is not questioning or pushing back in any way against these opinions. Rather, he's giving them a platform from which they can spew whatever it is that comes out of their mouth. So no, I mean, there is no pushback. This is a legitimate news program, which would sort of rationalize the inclusion of them as a guest. It's just an open forum.
So how many of these guys come on with the approval of Glenn Beck, as you quote here from time to time where he goes, wow, I think you really got it. You nailed it.
Yeah. That was a conversation on secession, of course. A lot of them do get Beck's approval. One of these people was asked to write for Beck's newsletter, which I didn't know existed until now. He said complimentary things to a few others. It's relatively a friendly atmosphere where Beck is, if not endorsing, coming fairly close to endorsing their viewpoints.
We're talking to Sam Stein from Huffington Post. So has he done this once or twice, and maybe you say, well, it's an honest mistake, or does this happen on a fairly regular basis?
It's a fairly regular basis, and I actually missed a bunch. The thing was, after the article went up, I got a lot of emails from people, in addition to conservatives who accused me of the worst type of slander, although they'll never question Glenn Beck's use of this type of guilt of association against Obama. This was way too far for me to go. But, a lot of people who are tired of Beck also sent in different tidbits about other guests who have questionable affiliations who have appeared on the show. But to your point, these people come on 3-4 times each. A lot of them are regular guests. A lot of them are holdovers from his days at CNN Headline News. So, it's not like they're, one-time hoots. These people are, given a platform fairly regularly.
Yeah, and, the reason why he's particularly culpable here in my mind, Sam, is because of what he does every night on the program. Because, look, if you said to me, do you know that all of your guests are on the level? I'm like, I don't know what they do in their private lives. Sam, I got to be honest, I don't know what you do in your private life. Okay?
Sure.
So I'm not sure that I could hold someone accountable to that. But Beck holds Obama accountable for connections that are far more tenuous.
Exactly. And, I would never have written this article. It would make no sense to write this article about someone like, like a Chris Matthews. That just wouldn't make any logical sense. But Beck has really taken the game to a different level. And when you look at someone like Patrick Gaspard, who's the White House political director, who Beck pegged as being this nefarious, awful human being with shady connections. I've met Patrick on a couple occasions. He's probably one of the nicest guys in the White House. And Beck said he was affiliated with Acorn back in New York. It turned out to be totally untrue. And even if it was true, so what if you worked for Acorn? It doesn't mean you endorsed the problems that the institution had with voter registration. It just means you were trying to organize a community. It's like, because one hint of something scandalous in the past happened to one organization and a person was, tangentially connected, all of a sudden they have all that organization's problems. It's absolutely crazy.
It's not just word association, it's smear association. So they'll smear Acorn, then they'll smear everyone who's ever worked with Acorn, and then they'll smear everyone who's ever associated themselves with someone who's worked at Acorn.
Exactly. If someone has funded Acorn and then turns around and funds another progressive institution, then that progressive institution has the smear of Acorn. It's almost laughable at some point. I watch Glenn Beck every night, I have to admit it, because I kind of get a kick out of it, and it's just funny to watch. But, a lot of it's sort of, I personally think it's a little bit scary to see what is happening with his show, because it really, anyone could be connected to anything and in turn be slimed, and that's just not civil or productive at all.
Yeah, look, every time I see that chalkboard, I think of the movie Beautiful Mind. And
I was thinking of doing a chalkboard for my piece, but I didn't have the graphic capability to do it.
So, all right, well, now we know who Beck associates himself with, and it's absolutely definitive, as Beck tells us all the time. If you associate with certain people, you are those people. So apparently Beck is a racist, son of the South, et cetera, according to Beck's logic. All right, it was a very interesting piece, Sam. I really appreciate you coming on to talk about it.
Definitely. Thanks. Anytime.
All right.
If you like this clip, you'll love the whole show. You can watch that at theyoungturks.com.